Hey there friends, imagine this. You're chilling on a beautiful Vietnamese beach, maybe in Nha Trang, dipping your toes in the ocean and, whoops, a wave splashes you. You taste it and it's like, why so salty? It's like someone dumped the entire salt shaker from a faux restaurant into the sea. But then you think about the Mekong River back home, fresh as a mountain stream, perfect for watering rice fields. So why is seawater salty while river water is fresh? That's the big question we're tackling today. We'll uncover the sneaky science of how salts sneak into the sea, bust some myths about where that salt comes from, and even dream up a crazy what-if scenario where the oceans turn fresh. Spoiler, it might not be as refreshing as it sounds. Let's dive in, pun intended. Alright, let's start with the basics. Picture this, rain falls from the sky, pure and fresh, like distilled water from the heavens, no salt in sight. But as that rainwater hits the ground and starts flowing into rivers, it turns into a little adventurer. It picks up all sorts of stuff along the way. Rocks, soil, minerals. You know, like how you grab snacks on a road trip. These minerals include tiny bits of salt, mostly sodium and chloride, dissolved from the Earth's crust through a process called weathering. It's like the water is gently eroding the land, saying, hey, give me some of that sodium chloride. Now, rivers carry this dissolved salt. Why don't rivers taste salty? Because the concentration is super low. We're talking about 100 to 200 parts per million in most rivers, compared to the ocean's whopping 35,000 parts per million. That's like adding a pinch of salt to your giant bowl of bun char versus dumping a whole bag into a swimming pool. As rivers flow, think the mighty Red River rushing through Hanoi. They transport these salts straight to the ocean. Over billions of years, that's a lot of salt delivery. Fun fact, scientists estimate that rivers dump about 4 billion tons of dissolved salts into the oceans every year. Crazy, right? But here's the key twist. When water reaches the ocean, it doesn't just sit there. The sun evaporates it, turning liquid water into vapor that rises up to form clouds, leaving all those salts behind. It's like boiling pasta water. The water escapes as steam, but the salt stays in the pot. Over time, this evaporation concentrates the salts, making the sea saltier and saltier. And get this, underwater volcanoes and hydrothermal vents on the ocean floor add even more salts, like natural seasoning from the Earth's core. So, oceans are like giant salt collectors, while rivers are just the delivery guys, keeping things fresh because the salts are diluted in all that flowing water. But wait, there's more. You might be thinking, hold up, is the salt just from table salt spilling into the sea or something? Nope, that's a common misconception. People often imagine salt comes from ancient dried up seas or human pollution, but actually, most of it is from rock weathering and volcanic activity, as I mentioned. It's not getting saltier super fast. The ocean's salinity has been pretty stable for millions of years because there's a balance. Some salts get removed when sea creatures build shells or when minerals settle on the seafloor. What about variations? Ever heard of the Dead Sea? That's a lake so salty you can float like a cork, over 300,000 parts per million. Why? It has no outlet. Water flows in but only evaporates out, concentrating salts just like the oceans but on steroids. Rivers, on the other hand, keep moving and mixing with fresh rain, staying low salt. And sunsets? Wait, wrong topic. But speaking of colors, why isn't the ocean blue from salt? Actually, that's light scattering, but that's for another video. Back to salt. In places like Vietnam's coastal areas, where rivers meet the sea in estuaries, you get brackish water, a mix that's kinda salty, kinda fresh, perfect for mangrove forests and those delicious shrimp farms. Now, for the fun part, let's play What If. Imagine if seawater suddenly became fresh, like river water, no more salt. At first it sounds awesome, endless free drinking water, right?
Nice.
You could sip straight from the ocean while surfing in Phu Quoc. But hold on, things would get weird. Marine life? Total chaos. Fish, corals, and whales rely on that salinity for osmosis, keeping their cells balanced. Without it, they'd swell up like overwatered plants or just die off. Goodbye, seafood feasts. Weather would flip too. Saltier water affects ocean currents like the Gulf Stream, which keep climates stable. Fresh oceans might mean wilder storms or even ice ages. Yikes! And on land, if rivers were somehow salty instead, agriculture would tank. Imagine irrigating rice paddies with salty water. Your foe would taste like the sea. Plants would wither, food shortages everywhere. It's a reminder of how delicately balanced our world is. Scary, but fascinating, huh? So, to wrap it up, Seawater salty because rivers carry dissolved minerals from land and volcanoes, and evaporation leaves them concentrated in the oceans, while rivers stay fresh due to dilution and constant flow. Mind-blowing how a simple question ties into the whole planet's cycle. What about you? Would you want fresh oceans, even with the risks, or maybe a world with colorful, flavored seas? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read them all.